everyone, my name is Annika Hecht. I'm from the University of Applied Science and Arts in Hildesheim, and I would like to welcome you to my online presentation as a part of the ESLA Congress. Today I will present a qualitative study with the title Instant Messenger as a Communication Tool in Parental Work at Institutions During Speech and Language Therapy. Okay, so let's start with the background by looking at parental work at institutions. Parents with an active role in a therapy process are an important factor for a positive therapy outcome. Parts of the parental work could be shared decision making, giving information, e.g. about speech development, or providing specific home practice. If the therapy takes place at institutions like kindergartens or schools, the therapist and the parents don't see each other regularly. And because of that, parental work is often more time-consuming for all the therapists, and as a consequence, SLTs often report a lower frequency and quality in communication with parents. All in all, limited parental work is regarded as a great disadvantage of therapy in institutions. And my motivation was to think about how we can improve parental work at institutions. Therefore, we first take a look at communication tools which are mainly used in parental work. There was an online survey about therapies in institutions in general, and questions about parental work were part of it. And the result was that we see in Germany the communication tools which are mainly used are exchange booklets, handwritten notes, telephone calls, communication via third parties, so the therapist tell the teacher what he should tell the parents or something like that, and face-to-face communication with the parents, but often in a lower frequency, like in a private practice, for example. But when we look at our private communication, nearly everybody uses instant messengers today. And the research question that I want to talk about today is here. To what extent does the use of an instant messenger change the communication between parents and SLTs at institutions? Before we could start to answer this question in a qualitative study, there was a pre-project, because we have to find out which messenger we could use for our study, and therefore we have to know which messenger offers the best functions and data security options for the parental work. Therefore, we first did a research of instant messengers. And afterwards, we compare which functions do they have, which possibilities for data protection do they offer, and how high are the costs for the messenger. And then we put all of these factors in an online survey and asked about 75 SLTs in 2020 what is important for them in the use of an instant messenger in parental work. The results of the online survey we compared afterwards with the functions of the research messengers, and the requirements from the SLTs are, at first they want to have the normal functions every messenger have, like sending text and speech messages, pictures, documents and videos. They want to have a good data protection with end-to-end encryption and GDPR compliance. They want to have a messenger which is protected by password or have something like a login, logout function. The messenger should be free of charge, especially for the parents. And the SLTs answer that they can imagine to use a messenger for this part of their work in the future, but they don't want to use their messenger they use for their private communication. So they want to use a separate messenger on their private phone or a separate phone for parental work. what we did was to take a look at all these messengers you see here and compare them with the requirements of the SLTs. And the messenger that we've chosen was the messenger Ginlo. Ginlo is a German messenger, but it's not so popular in Germany, so there are not that many SLTs that use it for the private communication, which make this messenger attractive for the parental work. The messenger meets all the requirements I talked about before. And furthermore, he has some special functions. For example, he has a possibility to connect with a username or a QR code, which is very helpful when the therapists want to use their private phone, because they don't have to give their private phone number to the parents. And photos and videos were not saved automatically in a cell phone gallery like we know it from WhatsApp, for example. And so if the parents send a photo or video from a home practice situation, for example, then the therapist will just see that in the chat history, but not in the between the private vacation photos in the cell phone gallery or something like that. So after choosing this messenger, we start with our qualitative study. We had 3 tandems consisting of mothers and SLTs, and they had experiences with parental work via exchange booklets or other communication tools before. And for our study, they started to communicate via Ginlo with each other for about 5 weeks. After these 5 weeks, we collect our data, and therefore all participants were interviewed separately with the episodic interview form. And moreover, the chat records were saved by the researcher, and both chat record and interviews were transcribed following the simple transcription system according to Dresing and Peel. While analyzing the data, we did different ways of triangulation with our data, where we triangulated the perspectives of mother and SLT, the both data materials we have, the interviews and the chat history, and of course we also compared the experiences of all our 3 different cases. All this data analysis was done in accordance to the grounded theory by Strauss and Corbin. Now I want to give you an insight into our results, and first I want to talk about the parental involvement in the therapy content. The experience of our participants was that the explanations become more detailed and more comprehensive when they were sent by a messenger. One reason for that is that typing or recording messages is faster than handwritten explanations. So the speech therapist can convey more information in the same amount of time. Also, the therapist can be a role model through voice messages, photos, or videos. One mother described this new possibility like this. She said that the speech therapist really explains exactly how to teach my son or how to practice words with him, that I can hear exactly how she pronounces things and how he should pronounce them. That was not possible at all via the booklet we had before. Another advantage was that if the parents have any questions, they could ask them directly. And because of all these facts, especially one tandem reports that the effectivity of the specific home practice and the therapy in general was higher. Another SLT tells us that for her the therapy felt more transparent now. She said that she would never call the parents just to tell them, oh, today it was good, But with the messengers, she has the opportunity just to send an emoji or a little sentence or something like that. As a third consequence of the more detailed and more comprehensive involvement of parents in the therapy content, the participants describe the quality of parental work in general as increased. Another important aspect I want to refer about is the manner of working with parents. And here I have a quote from a mother referring about the manner of communication with the communication tool they'd used before. She said, "But before, it always felt a little bit inconvenience to have to call somewhere, or you can't get the person on the phone, or they've already finished work, or this and that. And so you just know, okay, the message is already there and can be read." What we see here is a better access to the communication partner. So for the mother, the inhibition level access to the therapist was lower, and because of that, the contact to her was faster possible. One SLT refer about the difficult communication procedure while using the exchange booklet. She says, because then the exchange booklet might be forgotten, I might have forgotten to fill it in or something, and then, this flow of communication is somehow not there. Now with the messenger, there's a higher communication frequency because she could write her messages directly, but also later. Finally, as a result of the study findings and the existing literature, I want to discuss when is messenger communication useful. Down here, you can see some communication mediums which could be used via parental work. Our interview partners especially talked about the messages, of course, but also about their experience with exchange booklets or handwritten notes, with the face-to-face communication or telephone calls. To select one of these communication tools for parental work, we have to look at different factors. Firstly, there are therapist-related factors, so therapists have to reflect how they want to shape their parental work. Secondly, there are therapy-related factors, where we have to look which kind of parental work is necessary for this specific therapy. Moreover, we have to find out what the child and its parents want in parental work. What are their specific needs? And as a last factor, we have to take a look at the communication mediums. Which kind of communication is possible with this medium, and which kind of communication do I need in my parental work? Our interview partners distinguish between two different areas in parental work when they choose the communication medium. For the regular exchange, e.g. while talking about specific home practice or organizational aspects, the instant messenger was quite useful. They said for them the instant messenger could replace the exchange booklets. They don't need this exchange booklets anymore while using the messenger. For longer issues, you see down there, for instance, talking about the whole development or decide the next steps of therapy together, the interview partners prefer to use a telephone call or the face-to-face communication. The purpose of this presentation was to figure out to what extent the use of an instant messenger does change the communication between parents and SLTs. And my take-home message for today is that messenger communication can lead to a more intensive exchange between parents and therapists. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here you can see the articles and studies that I've used. And if you want to know more about the messenger communication in parental work at institutions or have any feedback, then feel free to contact me. Now I wish you a good ESLA Congress, take care and goodbye.